With the PS5 Pro coming out soon, I decided it was time to talk about the PS5 and all the great games it has, like God of War, which is also on the PC and PS4, Spider-Man 2, which is currently only on the PS5, but will most likely get a PC port eventually, just like the first Spider-Man game. Stellar Blade is also only on the PlayStation 5, but it's gonna get a PC port eventually. Helldivers 2 is also on the PS5 and PC. And the last example I will use is the Demon's Souls remake, but let's be honest here. The PS3 / the original version of Demon's Souls that FromSoft made back in the day is way better than the remake is, and you can emulate it on PC. I get the appeal of the PS3 and even the PS4 to a lesser extent, but why would any of you want the PS5 when a lot of the PS5 games are either on the PS4 or also have a PC port too? There's no reason to get a $700 USD PS5 Pro when the base $400 USD PS5 offers no good exclusive games to begin with. Any of you wondering what are the best PlayStation 5 games to get right now? The answer is what PlayStation 5 games? Because they end up on PC either through emulation or Sony makes an official port that you can buy. And let's not forget that they're still making games for the PS4, so you can't really be a PS5 game when there's a PS4 version out there. Make sure to like and subscribe if you bought a PlayStation 5, and especially if you are or thinking of getting a PS5 Pro, because you all desperately need my wisdom and guidance. Honestly, I can't imagine why anybody would want a piece of trash console like the PS5 for. They have no exclusives. All the exclusives they do release are usually trash games with no replayability, like The Last of Us, Stellar Blade, Spider-Man, Horizon, and God of Snore. Sony also can't make a good multiplayer game to save their lives either. Helldivers 2 is a gimmick that gets stale after 30 seconds. Wow, a horde mode style game. Let's pretend Left 4 Dead, Halo, or Gears hasn't done that before first and done it better. I'd also mention Killzone, but why even bother? The series isn't relevant. And the one time Sony goes all the way in on a new multiplayer IP, they decide to copy a generic, boring, stale game like Overwatch and call it Concord and look at it become a financial failure. And I have heard that they may relaunch the game again, and I hope they do, because it'll be funny to watch Sony waste more money with those talentless game developers they employed to make a game that nobody wants to play. Mind you, the game didn't even last a month past launch, so at least I can back up my kind words with proof. I remember with the PS4, people would say, well, the PS4 has exclusives and the Xbox One doesn't offer any in comparison. Which was true to a point, but now the PS5 doesn't have anything. All you get when you buy a PS5 is early access at most. Let's be real here. Sony will just launch it on Steam 2 years later when all the bugs are ironed out. So congratulations to all the PS5 owners out there. They got to pay $400 minimum to $700 maximum USD to be playtesters for PC gamers. It is pretty much fact at this point that Microsoft is better than Sony this generation. Even Microsoft's low points like Redfall and Halo Infinite are way better than any turds pretending to be games that Sony has made. I haven't even talked Starfield, which, if you don't listen to the idiot YouTubers who make a living hating everything and their mindless fans who can't think for themselves, you'd realize that Microsoft Bethesda made a good single-player game with a lot of replayability, which is something Sony has never been able to do. And with some Xbox games, you can play them on PC if they are anywhere titles like Starfield, versus Sony, where you have to purchase the game again. And I'm not the biggest fan of PC gaming. It is overrated, but Microsoft is way more user-friendly, and PC gaming does have some merit to it. Lastly, the Xbox controller is just far superior to the piece of crap that Sony makes their console owners buy. That touchpad on the DualShock and speaker is stupid, and it is just a way to make the controller more expensive for the consumer. And the worst part about the PlayStation DualShock controller is that it breaks far more often than the Xbox version does, so it's more expensive and more of a piece of crap. I also think that the Nintendo Switch is a far superior console to the PS5. Unlike the PS5 that pretends to have exclusives but really doesn't, the Switch has a whole bunch of exclusives that are not really available on PC legally at least. Now, I'm not a big fan of the company itself, but when it comes to games and how the Switch can be portable, I do think it is a better product than the PS5. The only real thing that the PS5 has over the Switch is the hardware. But if it's the hardware you want, get a high-end PC or the Xbox Series X, because those are better than the PS5 in the hardware department. Lastly, the Switch also has an additional controller that you can get, and it basically copies the Xbox controller. So by default, it is better than the crap that the PS5 sells. PC is interesting because all the PC is good for is playing old games like Morrowind, Fallout New Vegas, Skyrim, RTS games in general, or any other old or obsolete game out there, because it can be modded. So for new games, a PS5 is better, since gaming PCs just can't handle the tech that new games use today, which is why PC gamers always have issues with the new AAA releases. So on that front, get a PS5. But where a PC is actually not bad, and the only saving grace to the open platform is the massive back catalog of games you can get that you can't even get through Xbox's emulation. If we move on from the back catalog that PC has though, gaming through Steam, Epic Store, or on a gaming PC in general versus a PS5 is a easy dub for the PlayStation 5, since PC sucks for modern gaming. But if you can wait 2 years for the PlayStation game to arrive on Epic Store and don't care about the next product, then PC is the way to go. Unless you're smart and get an Xbox for way cheaper, since it's good for